Hello, welcome to another episode of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition live forum. I'm your host, David Dadekian, with Eat Drink Rhode Island, a small business here in Rhode Island, and we're glad to have you here for another episode of our show. As always, you can check out rismallbusiness.org to sign up for the coalition. I know I keep saying that there's a lot happening, but it just seems to increase all the time. We've got a new portal going up very soon, and a lot of things that you can see happen with the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition. And as the General Assembly session keeps going, we've been active with some legislation as well. So check out rismallbusiness.org for all the information. Sign up for the newsletter, and you'll find out when the portal goes live and things of that nature. So this week on the show, we've got a guest from another support organization, a great organization. We're welcome today to Tomás Ávila. He is the Associate Director of the Rhode Island Office of Diversity, Equity, and Opportunity, which is part of the Department of Administration. Welcome, Tomás.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, congratulations on the longevity of the program. I remember when I started watching it back in the pandemics, but it's nice that it's still here. And I appreciate this opportunity to share some experiences with you.
Thank you. It's very nice of you to say. Yeah, we've had great feedback from it. Lots of small businesses watch and get a lot of help from it. We have a lot of elected officials on. We've got more coming up, but it's also great to have support organizations like yourself and some of the others we've highlighted in the last few weeks to show small businesses what resources are available in Rhode Island for them. So let's jump right in. Tell us about the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Opportunity. What is it that happens there? What does it encapsulate, and what's your role there?
Sure. Yes. So the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Opportunity is an office that was created back in 2014, and it was to address several issues, but two in particular. The first one was the diversification of employment in the state of Rhode Island. And the second one was to provide opportunities for the minority business enterprise to do business with Rhode Island in all the purchases that the state does. And in particular, to deal with the General Law 37-14 which calls for 10% participation of the minority business enterprise in every expense that the state does yearly. And then on the other side, and the EEO, the Equal Employment Opportunity side, is where we do the diversification of the state. And in that, we work in partnership with HR in working towards diversifying the employment of Rhode Island to reflect the demographics of Rhode Island. It's something that has been happening for the last 8 years. We continue that process. And my role here is actually to direct the office and lead the office in these two main responsibilities, but at the same time to keep relationships with communities and to participate in programs such as this. And that's in a nutshell what the office is all about.
Excellent. That's great to hear. I think for those of you out there who aren't aware, the Department of Administration, which this office is in, handles all the purchasing for the state. And so that first part that you talked about there, purchasing, is obviously very important. I know through my own work in food alone over the last decade or so, we've made some great progress in getting more local businesses purchased by the Department of Administration and other state agencies. So it's great to hear the opportunities for minority businesses to be part of that purchasing program as well. How's the success there? What do you see there? Is it? I would imagine it's a lot of small businesses because by nature small businesses are heavily minority driven, which is fantastic. It's great to see.
Yes, and actually, I want to address something that you mentioned regarding food, and I'm glad that you did because, interestingly enough, that's one area that I'm starting to focus more. And part of the reason is because it is within the MBE program. Is one of the smallest industry that we have. We don't have too many individuals participating, and so I just started focusing a little more into it, and that eventually will grow. And as you mentioned, very much it's all small businesses. As you mentioned, the minority-owned businesses tend to be small and in the smaller scale of everything. But what we are doing is trying to actually elevate the growth of those businesses, and because we see great participation that is needed, and in some cases we don't have the particular industries that are needed. Such as an example, the as far as industrial and commercial electricians, we definitely have a need on that side of
Huh,
things, and so next month we're going to start working closer with community organizations and putting out a kind of a marketing to recruit more companies that can leverage that participation. But overall, the we have 785 registered businesses, and those are both minority-owned and women-owned businesses. And right now, yeah, pretty much within all of those businesses, there is a participation rate of about 40% of companies that are actually doing business with the state, and we're looking forward to again increase that participation.
that's great. That's fantastic. We had Michelle Miller from the Center for Women in Enterprise on recently, and we talked about so many opportunities that they're working on for women. So I just want to point that out here that we did mention minority businesses, but as you said, it's what is MWBE, right? That's the acronym that
Right.
the state uses. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
that's the acronym. So we want to make sure we include everyone there. Um, so, all right, let's talk about the EEO side of that things. Then you mentioned that. Uh, how has that been working? We've all talked about this. We've seen it in the news. It's a hard conversation. I mean, I have this conversation almost weekly with different friends of mine who own restaurants. Employment right now is very hard to find employees. What's your role there, and how do we see that growing?
Yes. Well, we actually facing the same issues that the general communities and the business community is facing. And needless to say, it's getting harder and harder to find individuals, and to fulfill the vacancies that the state has. Uh,
Oh, right.
yes, our role here has been very much the diversification, but you know how it is. Even if you're trying to diversify, when you have employment issues like we do have right now, it also affects the ability to bring in individuals into the employment side of things. So the way we are dealing with it is starting the end of this month, we're going to be participating in more job fairs and going to the communities and actually participating in as many events as we can, and at the same time sharing the information about the opportunities that the state has to actually employ individuals and try to make that connection between the state needs and the communities out there who may not be aware of what they have. And so to that front, again, we're going to start sort of like a massive marketing plan of visiting communities and visiting individual communities that other previously have not participated, because now we decided that we're going to turn every corner out there as far as looking for qualified individuals who we can bring into the state and help it diversify. But again, we are having the same issue that the general business community is having regarding employment.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was just looking down on my phone to see if I saw the current number on unemployment. It's at a record low,
Yes,
which is incredible, and a good thing in many ways, but also a difficult thing for a lot of small businesses. And,
absolutely.
it's a good point that you mentioned. I didn't think about it when I asked the question, but yes, of course, it stretches into state employment as well, which is important to keep your
Right.
office and all these other offices running.
And it's interesting, Dave, because what I have experienced that in the state is twofold. So it's what's happening out there in the general market, but then at the same time, state employees are usually recruited quite frequently, and so just like we are trying to recruit, we're also trying to resolve retention
Yeah.
and actually, you know, the recruiting of the employees here from other companies, which usually, you know how it is, it becomes very competitive because then salary plays a role and it makes matters even more difficult.
So I wanted to ask that question. This is this cycle that we're in right now. I've noticed, in my sector of the world, but I'm sure it falls into retail and professional services, things of that nature. It's got to be across the board. Um, the costs of everything is, we all know about inflation. What's going on right there. So the costs are going up, and it's more and more difficult to find employees. Where do you see the salaries going? I mean, what can we do there? It's especially when you're small business. You're one or two or three employees. Maybe 10 or 15, 20 employees to have to keep raising salaries while it's necessary on the other end. It's a difficult task for small businesses.
It is, and it keeps getting even more difficult. I was thinking last week that it's interesting. I remember for the last few years, the big movement out there has been $15 an hour. So let's raise to the minimum to $15 an hour.
Right.
Now I'm seeing advertising $25 minimum, $25 to start. So to your point, I mean, it's just, in my opinion, it has gotten out of hand to the point that pretty much it's like the more competitive it gets, the higher prices it gets. And as we know, small businesses don't have the luxury of being able to absorb those expenses much more to, in most cases, sharing with their customers, but it just making things a lot more difficult. And honestly, I don't know where it's going to stop, but hopefully it'll stop soon, and will bring a balance again to the reality that we should have. But at this moment, it's very difficult to tell.
Yeah, and like you said, you can't. The customers can only absorb so much too.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you see, 5-10% increases, but we're talking a lot more than that in some cases, and it's hard.
Exactly.
It's a hard thing for customers to have to swallow. I mean, as a customer myself, I mean, I'm sure you deal with it too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I went out over the weekend. I mean, Sunday, and needless to say, I went to a place that I usually go to, and I could see the difference from before. But again, with all the supply chains and everything else, also we throw all of that into account. It's just making doing business very difficult for the smaller businesses. Fortunately, small businesses, needless to say, have the experience of dealing with always trying to catch up, always
Yeah.
trying to stay alive, and I feel that plays a role. Well, the entrepreneurial side of humans, where you always find a way to deal with it. But again, hopefully it'll come to a stable point very soon.
Exactly. No, that's true. I mean, that's a point we've touched on many times on this program, and with the governor, when he was lieutenant governor as well, is the resiliency, almost the stubbornness of small businesses to make sure they keep going, even through something like the pandemic and financial changes and anything else you throw at them. It's the
Absolutely.
the drive for small businesses to stay open and to keep going, even in these harsh changes. So, you mentioned, the job fairs. You mentioned for you're going to be putting out some information from your office. Let's put up the website, odeo.ri.gov. That's the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Opportunity. So you can get to that, folks out there watching, odeo.ri.gov, and there's information on there, resources on there. So do you have a newsletter or something like that you contact with people, or is it press release for the news, or?
No, just press release with the news. But as far as employment is concerned, let me. And I also want to share this with you and the public. Is applyri.com.
Great.
And that's very much where the employment takes place from the state. Actually, the only way that you can employment comes through the state, and is needless to say, it's in the human resources, but we actually collaborate with them as far as recruiting individuals, and at the same time sharing this information with everyone out there.
Great to hear. Yeah, thank you for putting that up on the screen there, Ben. Applyri.com. So if you're looking for a state job, those are the opportunities there. Lots of different job websites out there. It's an interesting market. So certainly a good avenue to check out would be the state website, because those are great jobs as well. So are there resources directly available through your office? How do businesses interact with your office?
Yeah, well, the just a little background. So the businesses that we deal in this office in particular mainly certified MBE businesses.
Right.
Um, in accordance to the law, in order to for minority businesses to do business with the state, they have to be certified. And part of that, the reason is because of historical accounts in the past where people used to very much circumvent the program, and people who were not necessarily qualified were, needless to say, getting qualified. Or so the what that did, it was that it made the application process a little harder and a little longer. And so the process is that they have to apply through the through the office. The applications, needless to say, goes through the process and eventually approved. And once they are approved, they go into the purchasing system, and very much they have the opportunity to, once certified, to compete and to participate in the purchases, RFPs out there. So the information is all in the website, and once then it's a typical form. Should you be selected and win the bid, then go through the process of doing the paperwork and actually providing the services to the state. And we also but also the certification actually plays a role in municipalities. So it's the same certification that they are looking for, because the way the law reads is that any entity that uses either federal or state funding has to comply with this law. And then from there, very much once they are into the system, we provide them with access to other entities who provide technical support. So we work very closely with Commerce RI and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Rhode Island Black Business Association, and they are the ones who provide the technical assistance to these companies, and that's how we keep them, very much alive and participating, but at the same time seeking opportunities to participate and grow.
Excellent. That's great to hear. Yeah, Oscar with the Hispanic Chamber has been active with some of our small business coalition meetings, and the Rhode Island Black Business Association is an excellent organization as well. That's really interesting to hear. Um, we have a question from a Facebook viewer, and if you're out there, watching this live on Facebook now, please leave a question if you'd like it answered now, or you can watch this later, of course, on Facebook. Do you do the certification yourself, or third parties do the certification?
Actually, we do it here in the office.
Okay.
We have a team of 5 individuals who very much that's their focus, is to do the to go through the process of the application and doing the certification. So yes, it's done in house.
Great. All right, that's good to know. It's another resource for certification, because I know the Center for Women in Enterprise also does helps with that, and other support groups helps with that as well. So it's always important to remember to use these resources. They're available to you. There's no cost, right, to small business.
Exactly.
Right. No cost. So it's great to have these resources available to certify and to get involved in these great purchase agreements. I'm sorry, I froze there for a second. The RFPs. I was trying to think of the acronym. So many acronyms. But yeah, the RFP process is for the state is there's so many of them and great opportunities there. So please
Yes,
do,
indeed.
if you are a minority women-owned business, please do get yourself certified, because that's a crucial part of the puzzle. Take advantage of it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole point.
And I'm glad that you mentioned being free, because I have heard in the past, some individuals who have the perception that they have to pay to get certified. And then on the other hand, there are some individuals who are very much give the perception that you need to pay to get certified. But it's a free program. There is no expense other than very much what you eventually have to do to either make any corrections to your business. And by corrections, I mean that sometimes individuals come for certification and they may not have some of the necessary forms that we require. So they may have to get their taxes from the accountants. But other than that, the office per se is completely free, the process of getting certified.
Sure. Thank you. It's good to point that out. I hope small businesses out there, realize that these resources are available for free. We've all seen those. We sign up for something and then we get an email that says, "Oh, I can do your trademark, something for you, or this whatever resource it is that you're looking to do that is available through the state for free." These third parties try to get in on it and try to remember that these resources are available for free through the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned that, I also want gives me an opportunity to do to put out a warning, because we have actually in the last couple of weeks seen some emails that pretend to be coming from this office, but they are not. They are not from this office. It's individuals who are very much trying to get fish information
Yeah.
from the companies. And so, again, everything that comes from this office very much is DOA.RI.gov. But these individuals are using some different emails but actually trying to pretend that they are from this office and just want to put it out there.
Yeah, the fraud level throughout the last 2 years has been just off the charts. Obviously, we've dealt with it with DLT and the unemployment system, and then it's just crazy. But yeah, it's a good point. RI.gov is part of the state government website
Yes,
system. It's not
exactly.
there's no DOA.com.
Right.
There's no
Exactly.
there's no Department of Labor.com. Those are not real websites. Those you should pay attention to look at
Absolutely.
where things are coming from the state. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so the office, about how many employees do you have there in the office?
Right now we are up to nine employees, and very much. Uh, when I first came in last August, that was part of what I was ingrained in. It was because I had to hire most of the employees. The office went through a change through COVID. COVID, needless to say, devastated the office because many people decided to move forward, to move on, and whatnot. But now we are back to nine, and hopefully by next year we should be up to 10 or 12, because as you can imagine, so COVID did a lot of delays, and now we are seeing that those delays are becoming reality, which also is increasing the amount of applications that we are receiving, both for certification, but most in particular for bids and participation in with the purchases. So yes, but right now we are nine individuals.
Great. And completely funded by the DOA budget, which comes out of the governor's office.
No, this actually comes from the DOA budget.
Oh, so yeah, it's part of that's what I mean. It's part of the DOA
Oh
budget.
yes,
Which
right.
yeah, which
Absolutely.
so yeah, if you use this office, if you appreciate what they're doing, you want to see them supported. You can always say to your local representative or senator, hey, keep funding the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Opportunity. That's always it's always one of those good things to just say. I know it seems one of those odd things, but there's a program through DAM that I care about very much, and whenever I talk to my representative, I mention that it's a great program, and let's make sure it stays funded, because it's every year the budget process is a difficult process, and we just like budgeting for ourselves, our businesses, we want to be fiscally responsible, and
Exactly.
yeah, so it's great to have your office make sure it's funded.
And thank you for that plug, because as we speak, needless to say, it's going through the budgeting process. As a matter of fact, I had a staff meeting today, and we were talking about probabilities, and how it is. They come with ideas, and I said, well, I just want to remind you that right now I cannot confirm or do anything until the budget is approved, and
Right.
then eventually we'll know what has been approved and what we can do. So
Right.
again, thank you for that plug.
Oh, of course, absolutely. I think it's important for all our small businesses, all our listeners, to understand how the process works and how our government works. And yeah, it's April 19th, so yeah, just a few more weeks, and it starts up, and then it starts all over again.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. You start to plan the next year budget. I know how it works. It's a long process.
It's an unending cycle.
Yeah. We've had the discussion a couple of times with various senators and reps of seeing a 2-year budget cycle for Rhode Island. I don't know. There's certain things we can see change and growth over the years, but you never know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So this has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate your time, Tomas. It's really really been interesting to hear about what's going on in there that in your office. Anything you'd like to say in closing? Anything we might have missed?
If no, well, first I want to thank you again for this opportunity and this great conversation, and I definitely look forward to come back because I have enjoyed it so much, and it also gives me an opportunity to bring the information from the office to your followers, and and a wider network of small businesses, because you know how it is, small businesses come in all size, shapes, and form, and
Right.
definitely this gives me a new entry to, again, a new network of potential individuals who may be able to become certified and therefore increase their opportunities to participate with state. So once again, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's our pleasure. Thank you for your time, and thank you for everything that your office is doing.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So thanks again to all of you out there watching. We really appreciate it. We know that you got so much going on with small businesses, but it's important for you to be paying attention to what's going on with our coalition, because we're really trying to be a coalition for all small businesses throughout the entire state of Rhode Island. As Ben put up there on the screen, please join the coalition through rismallbusiness.org. And next week, I'm sorry, in 2 weeks, we've got Representative, too much talking. Representative Blake Felipe is with us, and we've got Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea coming up soon. Lots of great guests coming up soon. So please go to the Facebook page for the Small Business Coalition, like the page, follow all that stuff. There's also on Instagram and Twitter, but Facebook is where we have these videos where we post them up. So please take a look at our previous ones, watch for our new ones coming up, and we'll see you again here soon in 2 weeks. Take care.